Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is A Surge of Desires Part 6. Enjoy. Work, he lied, quickly holding his hand up and shaking it so you couldn't really get a good look at the marks. And then he put his hand in his lap, away from sight. Anyway, what were you saying? Yeah, I just need some time to get over this, you know, you asked. Over this? He asked, tilting his head and honestly looking like he had no idea what you were talking about. Yeah, the breakup with my boyfriend, you prompted. He gave you a blank stare that went on for a little too long, and you moved your head to see if his eyes would follow you, but they didn't. They just glazed over a little and you started to worry. Hey, you okay? You asked. It seemed like he had completely disappeared off into his own little world. Denki? What? He asked, suddenly coming back and looking directly at you. I think we both need to head home and rest, you said sympathetically, standing up and hoping that he would follow through. He did, but he was a little more quiet than usual. You weren't quite sure what had happened, but you had your own problems to worry about. You felt like maybe a good sleep would solve most of them. Denki walked you home, and then you said goodbye before heading inside, and he headed back off to his motorbike that he had parked nearby when he had followed you and your boyfriend home, then eavesdropped in on your breakup conversation. On the walk back to his bike, he felt a little anxious. She likes me, right? She does. How could she not? I'm hot. I've my nails painted and everything. She's in her house. She's not going to leave me. Leave me. Leave. Don't leave. He paused and turned back, wanting to run back to the house to make sure you weren't leaving. He couldn't lose you, not again. Not like with her. You wouldn't leave like she did. Nervously he fidgeted with his hands, looking pensive and forlorn. He was about to start running back to your house, but sirens in the distance stopped him in his tracks, and his blood ran cold. I didn't do it. I didn't do it, he repeated in his mind, turning and running to his bike and then kicking it over, flicking it into gear and pulling a wheel stand as he shot off down the quiet roads. No helmet on, no safety gear on. You woke the next morning still feeling pretty crap, but still got up to go to class. It was Mr. Mosley's class again, and he was a real stickler for attendance. Maybe I'll just go to his class and then come home, you thought as he headed off to college. The same time that you were headed to college, Denki was running late to his psychologist appointment and entered her office looking dishevelled and out of breath. Mr. Kaminari, she greeted him as he fell into the seat in front of her desk and slid his blue sunglasses up on top of his head. What's up, miss? He greeted with a smirk. And how have you been? She asked politely. Good, he lied. Same old, same old. How's work going? Yeah, good. Still doing the same stuff. And how have you been feeling? She then asked, noticing the bruise on his forehead. Never felt better, he lied. You missed my appointment the other day, she commented. Ah, yeah. I finished work and headed to the cafe nearby. Nice place. Got caught up in the ambience there. Ambience. It's a big word for you, Mr. Kaminari, she commented with a smirk. Yeah, see? I'm educated now, he replied with a sexy grin, lounging back in his chair. And do you need a repeat on your medication? How many do you have left? She asked, writing something down on her paper. He hummed, pretending like he was thinking. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I took them this morning, he lied. I can check when I get home. No, that's okay. I'll write you a script to get a repeat now, and you just get it filled when you run out. Yeah, sure thing, he replied, sitting up and leaning forwards, and then grabbing for the glasses on his head and bringing them down to put them on his face. Are we good? Because I got to be at work soon. Yes, we're, as you say, good. Unless there's anything you want to discuss today? Nah, I'm fine, he replied. I'm on my best behaviour. Okay, I'll see you again in 2 weeks, she said with a smile as he stood up and left. Getting onto his bike, he put his helmet on and zipped his jacket up so that he at least looked presentable leaving the office parking lot. Then he turned right out of the driveway, heading for your house, and not work. He had already called in sick that day. He had other pressing matters to attend to. You were sitting in class, holding in your 5th yawn with a wobbly chin and watery eyes, praying that the class would end sooner. Mr. Mosley was droning on and on about borderline personality disorder, and you were sick of it. Signs and symptoms, he droned, pointing his clicker at the smart screen and clicking to the next page. BPD is characterized by 9 signs and symptoms. To be diagnosed, a person must meet at least 5 of the following. You yawned again, covering your mouth at the last minute to hide it from the professor in case he should look up and see you and then call you out. He started talking about things on the list and stopped when he got to eating disorders and put up a slide image of a hand with calluses on the knuckles, just like what you'd seen on Denki's hand. You stopped and stared at the screen, listening intently to what he had to say about the cause of those calluses. These marks here, called Russell's sign, which refers to traumatic calluses on knuckles and dorsum of hand in patients with eating disorders that may become permanent and hyperpigmentated. That's exactly what his hands looked like. Is Denki okay? Suddenly you had a new concern. Was this new guy in your life really okay? You started paying more attention now, and your eyes widened when the professor started talking about disassociate episodes, describing what seemed to have happened with Denki last night. Sir? Someone in the class called out from behind you, making you jump with fright. Could you please go back over the part about head banging? Head banging? The internal shock was hidden to all, but your mind was starting to race now. Yes, of course, your professor droned, explaining more about headbanging and its prevalence in BPD. The bruises on Denki's head, the calluses on his hand, zoning out. Is he really okay? You wondered, your concerns growing. He's exhibiting more and more signs that are in line with borderline personality disorder. But what if I'm barking up the wrong tree here? What if these aren't even related? And they are work injuries, like he said. And they're zoning out. Hell, even I zone out. Miss Lynn, the professor's voice cut into your internal monologue. Please pay attention. I asked you to read the bottom paragraph, please. Other disorders that can be related to BPD are. You then listed some of the ones written and got to the last one. And obsessive love disorder, which is characterized by obsessively keeping in contact with the subject of your affection, ignoring the personal boundaries of the subject of your affection, behaving in a controlling manner with the person you love, feeling extremely jealous of other relationships the person you love might have with others? Yes, thank you, that will do, the professor said, and you clammed up. Your mind was reeling. There were too many things lining up here. Class dismissed, the professor called as the bell sounded loud and clear, leaving you sitting there in a discombobulated state as students slowly left the room. Okay, that's intriguing. And there ends part 6. I'll see you tomorrow for part 7.